have another silver lining.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Yeah. So Larian developers that made Baldur's Gate 3, uh, they say they aren't going to use generative AI uh, after their thing from 2 weeks ago, where they were kind of confusing people with what they were doing.
Okay.
So guess what, Jamie? Cue the confetti, light the fireworks. This one
That's
is a time for a celebration.
that's
And guess
awesome.
what? All the haters from our video on the last time we talked about this, you can suck my fat one.
It looks like we
That's a
won.
little, yeah. That's a little bit of like Stranger Things from the latest
um
season. You would
okay,
know,
so this comes from the AMA that just happened on Reddit on r/games, right?
right?
Okay.
And so, from all, we had several of the top guys from Larian, including the CEO Swen. They discussed some of their use from AI and some of the details about their new game on Divinity. Um, but my mind goblin is about the AI,
Yeah.
and so he's asked directly pretty much about the AI, and he has a pretty. It's not too long. I guess I'll read the whole thing. He says, so first off, there is not going to be any generative AI in Divinity. I know there's been a lot of discussion about us using AI tools as part of concept art exploration. We already said this doesn't mean the actual concept art is generated by AI, but we understand it created confusion, which, yes, it did. So, to ensure there is no room for doubt, we decided to refrain from using generative AI tools during concept art development. That way, there can be no discussion about the origin of the art. That's great.
Now that's specifically stating for concept art, like
Right.
specifically. Um and later I've got the quote pulled up here in the post. Now he's saying that he thinks that generative AI can help with the speed of like how they're improving and trying things out, gameplay or
Yeah.
art and stuff like that. Um, and at the end of this post, it says that he's not generating creative assets that end up the game without being 100% sure about the origins of the training data. If we use a Gen AI model to create in-game assets, then it'll be trained on data we own. So they will have their
Right.
artists in their style with their creative mind, and it'll be pulled from there specifically. And I think that is an ethical way to be using it, or at least in the
Yeah.
creative aspect.
Yeah. So, yeah, because they're trying to like refine ideas faster. They're trying to, um, they talked about white boxing last
Yeah.
time. So I guess it's kind of like trying out different things in like a little separate zone. You can try it out and just make iterations on that real fast before you actually put it into the whole game.
Mm.
That's kind of like a coding use of AI instead of like generating whole art assets with it.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, yeah, so someone asked for an example, and he says they use the models to clean. Well, actually, this guy, uh, Gabriel. So Gabriel, he is the machine learning director. So
Okay.
they've actually integrated the person who is in charge of their AI
Mhm.
uh, directly into like their hierarchy of business or whatever. They have a director for it. And
Okay.
Gabriel says, um, we use machine learning models to clean, retarget, and even add motion where it's not motion captured. So that's like within cinematics, or it doesn't like give like a concrete example. So what I'm thinking of is like when you translate a game,
Mhm.
you can use machine learning to make the mouth match the language that you're translating it to. So if you record it
Yeah.
all in English and you come in with your French voice actors and they record their lines, you can use your machine learning to re-rigger the mouth, like make it look like they're speaking French instead of like an obvious dub.
And that'll look
Which,
way cleaner than like the
yeah,
generic like voice like mouth movement, that just kind of like overlaps over so many retranslations of the games.
Hmm.
And it'll also be for like what they describe here as touch ups, like cleanups on small animations where there's like some roughness to the animation. So this will be used in like a bunch of cases, but the main thing here, again, at the end of this comment, these models are trained exclusively with Larian data.
Yeah.
They are using their own data for these touch ups, for these cleanups, for the like the mouth animations, anything that they're using to clean up what is being hand animated. And I think that again, totally fine use of that because it's going over and almost rounding out. Like we've talked about AI being used
Right.
to
It's using it
what
as
it,
a tool.
yeah, it's being used as a tool to help enhance, I guess, what we already have, and that I
Yeah.
think is fine.
Yeah. And like if you want to like going back to like my language idea,
Yeah.
like translating it into like 20 different languages, that's one thing. But then like going through, excuse me,
Mhm.
and then reanimating it for 20 different languages, that's going to take even longer. So I don't feel like most games do that. But if you have an AI do it, you can do it so much faster, and the
Absolutely.
end product's going to look so much better. So I feel like that's a fine example.
Writing basically like writing like a script for it to like basically take the English animation for the mouth movement and then just retool it for a different language based on some like data that it's been fed from
Mhm.
Larian animators. Yeah, that's totally fine.
Yeah. So then someone asks, does this new stance apply only to concept art, or does it also apply to writing? And you have one of the writers come in and say, yeah, it applies to writing as well. He basically says that like the AI when they generate scripts, the scripts suck. He says they're like a 3 out of 10, and like even his worst scripts are like a 4 out of 10. So,
Yeah, they're not
so
great.
yeah, his
Uh,
worst first drafts.
so this is like basically anything they're not using it for any stages to generate the core tenets of the game, right?
Yeah,
That's I
it
think
seems
the
like to just
idea.
like clean up some nice little rounded edges here and there.
I think that's just a totally fine way to be using this. So like, um, yeah, he's talking about placeholder text here and experimenting with tools and
Hmm.
but for the most part, they want to have everything basically be generated from people and then maybe a touch up from like the learning machines and the learning models specifically.
Yeah. I mean, there's also a thing that like too of like using your own data is that you own that
Your
data.
data, yeah,
Because if you generate something from ChatGPT and put it in your game or whatever, you don't own that data. Courts in the U.S. has said that like that is not protected by copyright,
yes,
and you don't own that data. So doing it that owning using it to train your own data, you own that data, so you don't have to deal with someone copying this thing that
hmm
you copied, essentially. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, it would be
So it protects
illegal
them
for them to
legally.
like literally go and like copy the model and all the data that's been pulled from. So
Yeah.
I get that.
So yeah, someone this is like a little aside, but someone asked, "What is your writing process?" And he it's kind of fun because he says their writing process is to embrace the chaos. We to encourage the chaos and be one with the chaos.
You gotta live with chaos,
Yeah.
man. I'm in
Yeah.
agreement. Playtesting your own situations, run them out of sequence. Yeah, they are just like they're pushing and they're breaking and they're pushing and they're breaking just like as much as they can to kind of get something that's solid. Um,
Yeah.
I dig that.
And if you're wondering what like the machine learning director does, someone asked that as well. So Gabriel, he says he's in charge of leading the machine learning team. So not only is it just him, they have a whole team. And he says the purpose is twofold. One is to support development by helping solve concrete problems through automation. And the second is to prepare ourselves for a future in which machine learning will drive reactivity to player agency.
What do you think that means?
I think that means we saw a little bit of that in we talked last week about, or 2 weeks ago actually, where someone had a game where it was machine learning and you could talk to the NPCs
Mm-hmm.
directly, and so there's a little bit of reactivity that way. I think that's like just the surface, but I feel like maybe if like you pick up a bottle and you throw it. Like they don't predict that players are gonna pick up bottles and throw it, but like you
Yeah.
can use that and like program your AIs with actual AI, like instead of
Yeah.
like scripting them.
Um, I don't know. The way this reads to me, yeah, it's going to be using an AI to, um, like as the NPC almost in that same way. And well, I
Mm-hmm.
think it's cool. I mean that in the end, I feel like that's gonna be like some generation as far as like how the NPC reacts and everything like that. And I don't know if I'm totally for that, but I get that they're trying to like do something really unique and interesting here, especially in like a franchise and in a games studio that is known for how many like ways can you come at a scenario. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what they hope to do with it more than anything else. Um, even though in this next bit they say they do not generate creative assets that end up in a game without being 100% sure about the origins of the training data. So it seems like more than anything else they're focused on the training data um,
Right.
than anything else. So I'm hoping even if they do end up using like an NPC that's like an entirely an AI character, that the consenting voice actor is compensated appropriately for their data and likeness being
Yeah, well,
used.
a little bit further down, he talks about that. He says, "But we draw lines in the sand too. We explicitly uh, we're explicitly committed in our voice actor agreements and do not using the recordings to train or build AI voice modelers
Oh,
because
right
we
on.
are aware of how sensitive it can be to artificially generate an actor's voice. Even if an actor is were willing to agree to this." If we compensate them, we do not feel comfortable with using an AI generated voice in our games.
Okay, mad respect. You know what?
Yeah.
I get that.
So that part where I was talking about talking to your NPCs and having them talk back, we're not going to do that.
Right on. I'm here for
Yeah,
that. I appreciate too. It's the consent part of it, where
exactly.
so many voice actors are worried about their data being taken, and then now you can just get that person to say anything, and that can be used against them, right?
Yeah.
It's just
And
creepy. It's weird, and nobody likes it.
yeah, and it's also like what some of the big voice actor unions are, well, I
Hmm.
should probably say all of them are fighting for. Like they want
Yeah,
to be in control of their own voice, because that's how they make their livelihood, and they should absolutely be in control of their own voice.
yeah, I agree. I agree. And then the next little bit here, he says that the assets we actually generate to be used in game are incredibly limited. It's adding motion to voice recordings where we don't have motion capture data, which is what you're
Hmm.
talking about with mouth movements lining up with the actual audio. Um, let's see, we're experimenting
And
with ways to help
they're
us
still
prototype faster.
experimenting with it too.
Yeah, I feel like there are probably some other ways that they can, they've got the whole team to figure out how they can start automating things to make game development a little bit smoother and a little bit quicker for
Hmm.
the most part without sacrificing quality. Um, but as long as they're not generating anything that's, unethical or awful in the sense of the creative aspect, the human aspect, then cool.
Yeah, like
Right
they
on.
use it to prototype, and they say they have a system of strict guide rails to ensure nothing would be used during the prototyping that can be put into a game that can ship. So
Yes.
all the assets involved will be clearly marked and purged afterwards.
Right on. Totally
So
okay.
right on. I'm like, okay, I'm liking what they're talking about, and that's great.
What else we
There's a
got from
little bit
there?
there's a little bit of a funny comment from Swen I put down here at the bottom because someone asked him what was your favorite and least favorite part of making Divinity. And he said his least favorite was answering all the questions about AI. Yeah,
Hmm.
and his favorite is all the rest. So, you want to get into a little bit of all the rest of this AMA?
We can cover some little bits of it.
Yeah, 'cause
Let
I like this part where they're talking about yeah, mod inspiration.
Okay.
Someone asks, have you seen some of the mods from Baldur's Gate 3? And you think, oh, we should have done that, or we should include that next time. Um, Michael from Larian says, car wild shape.
You know what? I'm for
Yeah.
it. Honda Civic, put it in.
Yeah.
There's one here about the WASD movement. How WASD
Wait, just
movement.
as long as it, just as
Sorry.
not as long as it's not the Cybertruck.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Don't put Grok in there.
Yeah.
You're trying to turn into a car. Ooh.
Yeah.
So,
Grok comes out. He like gasses
yeah.
you up before the big battle.
I think you can do it. You totally can do it. You're my little ex
Yeah.
princess. It's Grok talking to you, by the way. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's a thing about WASD movement. Considering, uh, there's a person here who comments that the WASD movement mod was one of the most downloaded and beloved mods for Baldur's Gate 3. Is there a way to that they're going to include that? And Artem from Larian says no. Totally get it.
Just straight up. Just no.
Yep.
Nothing, no explanation.
Nope. I'm totally I'm in agreement. It's not designed to be using WASD movement. It's never been. It comes
Yeah,
from
it's a CRPG.
classic gameplay, classic RPG
Yeah,
gameplay from like the early 90s to like 2000s. Can't get rid
that's
of that.
great. Yeah. But what they did say is they do like they were taking notes on some of the UI mods out there, and so some of the UI team is working hard to bring more complexity and
Hmm.
whatnot. So that's good. And they also loved the player mods for appearance
Yeah,
and you're getting a lot of creative ideas. So that's awesome.
I think the more like visual stuff you can customize your character with, the better.
Yeah. There's a lot of questions about where they just get inspiration from in general and like what games they're playing. Um,
Hmm.
some of these are pretty interesting. They say Bert, he's playing Europa Universalis 5.
Okay.
I don't know anything about that. And then one of them is saying they're playing the Seance of Blake Manor, which is
Yeah. Very cool.
it's like a point and click mystery indie
Hmm.
game, which is really cool. I think I have that on my wish list.
Same.
There's a couple of them, yeah. There's a couple of them playing this game called The Bazaar. Have you heard of
um,
this?
isn't that it's like a card game, almost like what's it called? It's like Hearthstone almost, right?
I don't know. I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, it's something like Hearthstone, I believe, if that's the same one I'm thinking of. I'm gonna open this link. Um, I've seen like a
This
couple
trailer does
like
not show any gameplay. Oh, here it is.
okay.
Mm. It
uh,
kind of looks like
what does it look like?
Gwent.
Well, yeah,
Did you ever play
it's like
Gwent?
it's Hearthstone, it's Gwent, it's Marble Snap.
Oh,
It's one of
okay.
those like card game type dealies. Um, I've seen like one of my streamers that I was watching like start playing it, and it looked really interesting, but um, probably not for me.
Yeah.
But cool.
What another indie game they're playing is Pipistrello and the Cursed Yo-Yo,
That game's
or
really
maybe it's
good.
Pipistrello. I don't know if this is like a Spanish game.
Uh, no, it's just really cool. Yeah,
Yeah, look
it's
at
like
it.
a top-down movement fun game. I think it's really dope. It's really fun.
Yeah,
If you've never
I
played
like
it,
that.
recommend it.
Hmm.
Uh,
There's Blake Manor or Expedition 33 blew him away. There's a couple people actually saying Blake Manor, so I definitely want to check that out.
yeah, one person, Adam from Larian says, I played lots of games, and that was a highlight towards the end of the year. The approach to storytelling is so different than ours, but it's hugely inspirational. Um,
Yeah.
so I guess there's something about the structure of that game that just like fit really well with a lot of the people at Larian.
Hmm.
That's cool.
Gabriel, he's playing Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader,
Oh,
which is another RPG. I have that on my wish list. It looks really cool.
awesome. That's cool.
Talk about someone asked about mechanics in Divinity, and what you're most proud of. And Nick he says he can't really say exactly, so he says, there was something that bothered me when I explored the starting areas of uh, Divinity, Original Sin 1, 2, and Baldur's Gate 3. It stares you right in the face if you think about it.
Mhm.
In Divinity 1, I can finally do the thing I wanted to do in every previous game. And then, like, the top voted answer is swimming confirmed. So,
Yeah, that'll be silly.
yeah,
Um,
which
I
is
love
fun because you
that.
couldn't swim in those games. You're at the edge
Yeah,
of the water and you're like,
yeah, you kind of just like fall in
uh,
or whatever. I mean, that's most
yeah,
video games. I hate to say it.
yeah. Someone asks
um,
about failure in like save scumming because I remember in the Baldur's Gate 3 community that was kind of like a hot topic to talk about.
mhm.
And like some people would be hardliners, be like, I don't save scum at all because you kind of like you get so many more fun reactive ways when you don't save scum. But some people are like, it's my game, I should be playing it how I want to play it. And
Sure.
if I want to do a perfect run, then I should be able to do my perfect run. I mean, teach their own. That's fine. They absolutely let you do that. But when I played Baldur's Gate 3, I didn't. I did one save scumming. Okay.
Yeah,
Most of the time I didn't do it, but there was a mission. Did you play Baldur's Gate 3?
I didn't finish it.
Okay, but there was a mission where you had to save everybody in like a time limit, and I was like, I'm gonna save everybody.
Yeah, I get that. It's the
Yeah,
Fire
it was
Emblem,
like
you know.
yeah, it was a challenge, and it was fun. But he says, our ambition, this is Adam, he says, our ambition is certainly to make failure more interesting. There are already a couple situations in the game where I think the most exciting and extensive outcome comes from failure. But you'll be the judge of how we'll do.
I think a lot of the save scumming in Baldur's Gate comes from D&D as well, where people want to succeed no matter what, just so that their good thing happens. But I agree with Adam here, where the most interesting things often come from failure and how you
Hmm.
like your character or you react to that failure. Um,
Yeah.
it,
One
it's
of the
good role
failures
play.
that happened to me in Baldur's Gate was I came across this. It was in the second act.
Hmm.
There was like a little mini boss or something, and he was like gold, made of gold or
Hmm.
something, and like he was very angry you were in his house. And he was like, "Get out of here!" Blah blah blah. And like I was like trying to like talk him down and like get out of the situation,
Yeah.
but I failed, and I had to fight, and it was a fun fight. So it was a good failure outcome. I feel like,
Yeah. It gives you some interesting scenarios that you're just not going to get normally. That's
yeah,
why they have difficulties, like checks, just to be like, oh, can you do this? If not, here's a different interesting route for you to go down.
hmm
I think it's important.
yeah. This is interesting because someone asks, "What are some improvements to the narrative you want to make?"
Hmm.
And they want to improve the interaction between companions. He says not just with better banter, but develop deeper relationships with each others, just as they do with players.
Cool.
And the ramp up to player friendship and romance is more subtle, which the romance in Baldur's Gate 3 was some of the best romance in RPG pretty much ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they want to like make it more subtle, make it better. I'm all for that. That's awesome.
Yeah, they want you to kind of like grow and get attached to these characters in a romantic sense also, like less quickly than it was maybe in Baldur's Gate, you
Yeah,
know? Make it more
yeah.
natural sounding. Um, let's see. Yeah, they're talking about how the size of Divinity. Yeah, they want more agents. Swen here says more agency, more consequences. Divinity's taking everything they learned from Baldur's Gate 3 and Divinity Original Sin 2 and improves from there. Um,
Yeah. So they're just making it bigger and better. They just don't know how big they're gonna make it.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, that was the last one I pulled there.
I think that was like everything we wanted to hit because it pretty
Yeah.
much covered everything we were talking about like 2 weeks ago and plus some cool stuff about Divinity that's coming out.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, well, let's check it out. I love Divinity Original Sin 2. That was N1. Those are some really
Mhm.
fun games. And I didn't finish Baldur's Gate, but it's it's in a
Mhm.
box right now for when I'm ready to
Mhm.
play
Yeah.
it.